Hello? System. Are you really a system? Host, you can doubt my integrity, but you cannot doubt my function. But, don't you notice what's wrong with my property panel? In the small and dilapidated house, a black-haired thin boy looked at the property interface that appeared in front of him, scratching his head sadly. Invincible passive system host, Wei Yi, is your attribute panel a bit too simple? I have never seen a system like yours since I am so old. It's really a mess, you should just take your skirt off. Wei Yi said in a contemptuous voice. Hearing Wei Yi's words, a line of words appeared on the property panel again. Have you seen other systems? Of course. Where? In the novel. Also, your name in the system is too inconsistent with my personal setting. I am a man who likes to take the initiative. Wei Yi continued to complain. According to this system, the host has been single for a total of 22 years, 3 months, and 7 days at 9:40, 9:01, and the host has lived for a total of 22 years, 3 months, and 0 in your previous life. 7 days at 9:40 and 9:01, you seem to have no chance to take the initiative. Wei Yi, system, let's talk about how to use you. Regarding Wei Yi's awkward change of topic, the system obviously didn't care, or that he paid more attention to Wei Yi's problem. This system can strengthen the host's ability by extracting the hero's passive ability. A line of words appeared on the attribute panel. Seeing this line of words, Wei Yi had a trace of doubt in his mind. Hero? What hero? After all, in Zhen Xiaobai's memory, there are too many existences that can be called heroes. But in the end, Wei Yi suppressed the doubt and asked another more important question. How to draw? Recharge. Recharge? What to recharge? Is it to recharge? But I don't have any money now. Wei Yi saw a line of characters appearing on the property panel, and he was taken aback and hurriedly said. Ding dong! The system is offline. Accompanied by a crisp sound, Wei Yi watched the property panel in front of him quickly blacked out, and then gradually disappeared. Wei Yi, is the current system so realistic? After the system's attribute panel disappeared, Wei Yi tried to call a few times, but in the end it didn't work. He had to temporarily give up calling this real system, ready to go for a walk, and learn about the world by the way. Wei Yi. The previous life was one of the billions of Duoxia people. Just after graduating from the senior year, he was taken to this place by an unpredictable crossing. And what's even more cheating is that he obviously passed through the soul, but he didn't get the memory of the original owner of the body at all. As a result, he now has no idea of where he is. Even the only system that made him feel a little comforting was an unusually realistic guy. This made Wei Yi feel a little flustered. The scorching sun was shining down from the sky. On the road, a feeling of emptiness kept coming from his body, almost making Wei Yi unable to even walk normally. This body is too weak. Wei Yi didn't even know what the original owner of this body did, and he could abuse this body into this way. Even the drug addicts in the previous life would be slightly stronger than this body. Continued to walk a few steps forward, and finally this body could not be carried anymore, and Wei Yi had to find a shady tree to rest. During the break, Wei Yi took a look at the surrounding situation. The place he is currently in seems to be in a huge courtyard. There are many children about the same age as Wei Yi now. It seems that this place is like an academy or an orphanage. Hey all! A very excited shout came from behind. Wei Yi didn't care, because he had no extra power to watch the excitement. Hey have you heard? Excited shouts sounded again. This time, the source of the sound seemed to be closer to Wei Yi. At this time, Wei Yi also reacted. This guy won't call me. Wei Yi muttered inwardly. Just when Wei Yi was going to look back and check it. Suddenly, bang! A slap that felt like I was about to slap my body fell on my shoulder, and directly slapped Wei Yi to the ground. Hey, are you okay? how come your body is still as weak as before? A worried voice came from above his head. Wei Yi glanced up with a dark face, and then he was stunned. Sakura-colored hair. The black plaid scarf with white background and black lines that will not take off on a hot day. Two foolish smiles. Naz! Wei Yi yelled, trying. Yu reading www.yuuganshu.com. Although Wei Yi did not inherit the memory of the original owner of the body, speaking has already turned into a physical instinct. Therefore, although Wei Yi does not know the language here, communication is not a problem. Oh! What are you guys doing recently? I haven't seen you for more than a month. The boy named Naz turned to Wei Yi very dissatisfied. Nothing, just studying some magic things. Magic? Naz was stunned for a moment, and then he didn't know what he was thinking of. His emotions suddenly became extremely high, and he felt like fire would burst out at any time, and said angrily, that fellow Elisa passed this rank wizard. The test of her, I will defeat her one day sooner or later. And Gildaz, so is Grey Guy. It seems that Naz opened the chattering box because of a sentence from Wei Yi, and he immediately began to spit out a lot of words. While Wei Yi listened to Naz continuously standing by one, he gradually began to lose consciousness. Especially when he heard the familiar and unfamiliar names from Naz's mouth, the whole person was directly plunged into sluggishness. Because Wei Yi never expected that he would come into this world. Fairy tale. A world where magic prevails. Here, magic has almost developed to a household name. Not only fighting, but even people's daily lives are closely related to magic. And the product that appeared in front of Wei Yi at this moment is the protagonist of this world. True protagonist. Naz Duragnir. Fiori Kingdom is a permanent neutral country with a population of 17 million on the mainland of Ishugar. This is a country where magic is prevalent. In this world, people who have magic power and can use magic are called magic wizards, but generally speaking, they need to join a guild to be officially recognized, and because of this, there are many magic. The Guide Guild was established, and the guild maintained its operation by accepting and solving the task entrusted by the client by the magic guild. There are many types of magic in this world. Generally speaking, they can be roughly divided into three categories: ability, possession, and special. Possession mainly refers to magic items that can be used with their own magic power, such as summon magic, dress up magic, etc. The ability system refers to the magic used by the practiced own magical manifestation, such as earth, water, fire, wind, etc. Special type is magic other than the above two types, such as receiving magic that receives external power, possessing magic, etc. Except for these three types. There are also three types of very special magic, called primordial magic or ancient magic. And the protagonist of this world, that is, the one that Wei Yi uses in front of him, is the dragon-slaying magic. In primordial magic is a magic that exists specifically to destroy dragons. Former world Wei is also considered an otaku, so he has a certain degree of understanding of this anime, but because of time, some details have been gradually forgotten by him. Quickly recalled the general situation of the world in his mind. Combined with Naz's endless chatter in his ear, Wei Yi's current situation gradually became clear in his mind. Elisa has just passed the examination of this rank sorcerer, which means that Elisa is 15 years old this year, and Naz is 14 years old this year. The beginning of the plot is when the protagonist is 18 years old, which means that the distance the plot is still 4 years away. Wei Yi silently recalled in his heart that Wei Yi did not remember the year of this world at all, so he could only infer the plot based on the age of the characters. And, through talking with Naz, Wei Yi also roughly inferred that the original owner of this body should be a lonely character. This should be the only good news that Wei Yi has gotten so far. Because of this withdrawn character, it is easy to disguise, and it also reduces the possibility of his exposure. Just as Wei Yi was about to learn more about the situation from Naz, suddenly, an immature shout came from a distance. "Hey Naz, let's go to dinner, I heard that there will be fish for lunch today." "Really, Hobby?" Naz jumped up when he heard these words, looked at Wei Yi excitedly and said, "Oh, let's go eat." Good." Wei Yi responded. Although he answered Naz's question, in fact, Wei Yi's gaze has always been attracted by the creature that just uttered its immature cry. That's right. The creature that just yelled was not a human, but a kitten. It's just that this cat has blue hair, black and white pupils, and a pair of small wings behind it. The whole look is cute. This cat is just Naz's exclusive pet, a transcendence from another world, named Hobby. The current Hobby hasn't fully grown up yet. Two small wings swayingly support it and fly to Naz's shoulder, and then he can see it retract its two wings, stand up on both feet, and stretch out one. The cat's paw raised up and said hello to Wei Yi. "Hey long time no see, Hello. Hobby." Wei Yi replied with a smile. "I have to say, this cat is much cuter than it looks in anime. Oh, let's go to dinner. I heard that there are fish for lunch today." As soon as he mentioned fish, the corner of the mouth of the little cat, Hobby, could not control the saliva, and he looked salivating. "Okay." Wei Yi nodded, his body indeed needs a little more energy now. After finishing speaking, Wei Yi was ready to get up and follow Naz and Hobby to eat, but before he had to take 2 steps, Wei Yi suddenly found a huge force holding him up, and he couldn't resist completely with his strength. "Wow, ha ha ha, oh, you are too slow to walk like this, let me take you." Naz grinned at Wei Yi, and suddenly an extremely ominous premonition appeared in Wei Yi's heart. Canteen restaurant. Naz and Hobby gulped their food, the clash of dishes and chopsticks sounded like a war. While Wei Yi was lying weakly on the table, feeling that the whole person was about to fall apart. Although Wei Yi felt that Naz, the protagonist, was a bit stupid when watching anime before, he never expected that in reality, this guy was even more stupid than the second stupid. Took more than 10 minutes. Wei Yi finally felt a little bit of strength recovered, reached out his hand to take a bowl of porridge from the table, and started to drink slowly. The human body wants to eat very much when it is hungry. But if you get too hungry, your stomach will shrink, and you will lose your appetite at this time. And now Wei Yi is in such a situation. "Oh, you guy, Naz's mouth was filled with rice, and he said like a hamster. "Hey, Wei Yi, by the way, you reading www.yuyugonshu.com Naz, let me ask you a few things." Taking advantage of the meal time, Wei Yi worked hard to increase his understanding of the world. Have to say, Naz is a standard protagonist template. Stupid, silly, stupid, stupid. Almost all 4 major features are occupied by this guy. Sometimes watching anime, Wei Yi is really curious about how this guy lived to the end. To be honest, if you are a villain, if you can have such an enemy, you can wake up with a smile in your dreams. Of course. As a companion, this guy is also quite good, at least now Wei Yi almost doesn't use idioms. Naz will take the initiative to explain everything he wants. With Naz's opening, Wei Yi has a better understanding of his own situation. As Wei Yi previously guessed, the place where he is now is an orphanage, which was jointly established by several wizard guilds including Fairy Tail, and was mainly used to adopt some who were rescued by several guilds. Orphan. And this orphanage will also teach some basics about magic. If someone can successfully learn magic, they can directly join one of several guilds. When Naz was just picked up by Fairy Tail Guild President Makarov, he also stayed in this orphanage for a while. That's when he met But because Naz has been learning Dragon Slayer magic with dragons since he was a child, he didn't stay here long before he successfully joined the Fairy Tail. As for why the face of does not appear in the original work, the reason is naturally needless to say. Oh, I feel you have changed a lot. Wei Yi was thinking about the problem in his mind. When he heard Hobby sigh like this, he was shocked, but there was still no expression on his face, and he said lightly. Is that right? Yet. Because you have never said so much before. Every time Naz and I talk to you, only me and Naz are talking. Hobby said vaguely, biting the fish in his mouth. What's so strange about this? After all, we haven't seen each other for more than a month. Isn't it normal to have some changes? Men and cats are the same. If you don't see each other for 3 days, they will be big enough to be completely unrecognizable. For Wei Yi, guys like Fudge Naz and Hobby, they come with open mouths, and they can flicker around without even typing a draft. Hey! Sure enough, after hearing Wei Yi's words, the happy eyes of the little cat suddenly narrowed into crescents. Obviously it is very interested in the topic of grow up, as Wei Yi said. After eating a little in the cafeteria, Wei Yi finally felt a little better. Because Wei Yi is not an adult and has not become a wizard, he now does not have to pay for eating in the cafeteria. But the guy Naz has become a magician, he needs to pay in the cafeteria restaurant, plus the meal he just ate a bit too much, so as soon as he finished the meal, he took the hobbit with him. Go to the guild to pick up the task. Because they don't do tasks anymore, their next meal will be very problematic. And after Wei Yi left in Naz, he also hurried towards his residence. Because after realizing that he was in the world of fairy tale, he suddenly remembered something important. Once back to the residence, Wei went straight to the only bed in the house. After groping for a while, he quickly took out a notebook and a few pieces of paper that looked a little shabby. Wei Yi looked at the notes unexpectedly, he hadn't noticed this thing before. However, after only 2 glances, Wei Yi quickly shifted his gaze to the shabby papers. These papers were painted with patterns that Wei Yi could not understand. The only thing that could recognize him was 500J. Several symbols similar to numbers and letters. That's right. These papers are nothing but the paper money of this world. Although Wei Yi also turned them out once before, at that time Wei Yi did not recognize their identity. With money in his hands, Wei Yi hurriedly started calling the real system. System this time, Wei Yi just called out a word. Before he even had time to call out the word Tong, he saw an attribute panel suddenly appeared in front of Wei Yi. The picture on the property panel slowly changed. First, a small monster like a penguin appeared, and then a few big characters gradually appeared. Penguin, use money to create happiness. Seeing these words, Wei Yi was speechless for a moment. And these words appeared quickly and disappeared quickly. After a while, the font on the property panel changed again. Recharge? Host. Wei Yi swears that he has never seen such a realistic system in his life. It is simply a shame in the system industry. Someone in him is really ashamed of this system. Charge. Wei Yi spit out a word from his mouth. The voice just fell. Only heard ding dong. The banknotes in Wei's hand disappeared instantly, and then a picture slowly appeared on the property panel. The host recharges 1400J, successfully opens a first-level member, and rewards a lucky draw opportunity. Do you want to start the lottery right away? Yes. Seeing a line of words appearing on the property panel, Wei Yi hurriedly replied. Looking at the black hole on the system panel gradually starting to rotate, Wei Yi felt a little anxious and a little excited. Because since he discovered that this is the world of fairy tale, there has been a trace of anxiety in his heart unconsciously, because this world is essentially a power-respecting world, and it is almost impossible to move without enough power here. Was born again after all. How can Wei Yi really stay in the orphanage for a lifetime? All kinds of messy thoughts continue to emerge in my heart. At this time, only heard the sound of ding. The black hole on the system panel suddenly stopped spinning, and then a light slowly emerged from it and fell straight into Wei Yi's body. It didn't take long. Wei Yi noticed the changes in his body. The whole body felt like a numbness, especially the stomach, which seemed to be turned into a stove. Although he had just finished eating, his stomach kept coming out of abnormalities. Severe hunger pangs. At this time, the fonts finally appeared on the system panel of UU reading www.uuganshu.com. Congratulations to the host for successfully extracting the passive ability of Hero Void Fear. Your body is slightly strengthened. Your stomach is strengthened. Void Fear passive ability. By devouring the flesh and blood of creatures, you can draw the essence of life from it, increase your own health value, and the increase is proportional to the level of the creature itself. Seeing these lines appearing on the system panel, Wei Yi was taken aback. System. Is there something wrong with your passive ability? I remember the passive ability of Void Fear doesn't seem to be this. When Wei Yi saw the 4 words Fear of the Void, he already knew what the so-called hero in this system meant. After all, he has played this game in his previous life for a while. Although it is very delicious, he still has an impression of the skills of some of the heroes. If he remembers correctly, Void Fear's passive skill seems to be able to restore health and mana by killing creeps. The ability to consume life to increase health is a bit like Void Fear's ultimate ability. Host, are you stupid? How can the skills in the game appear in reality? Do you understand science? After listening to Wei Yi's question, a line of words slowly appeared on the system panel. While Wei Yi saw this line of words, he felt as if he was trampled by 10,000 creatures in an instant. MMP. Do you tell me science with a system? Are you afraid that you have forgotten what you are? I found it, as expected. Inside the dilapidated hut, Wei Yi flipped through the notes in his hand and secretly said in his heart. This notebook is the one that Wei Yi found before. It mainly records some magical content of the predecessor, and the content recorded on the last page of this notebook is nothing else. It is the predecessor's impact magic skills before, words of encouragement for myself. It was because of this notebook that Wei Yi determined that the cause of death of his predecessor was the failure of the assault wizard, which led to the death of magic backlash. Hey, this guy is looking for death. How can he succeed in attacking the magic with this physical condition? After reading the contents of the notes, Wei Yi sighed unconsciously. Through this notebook, Wei Yi finally understood what the magic of this world is all about. Everyone in this world has magic power in their bodies, but not everyone can become a wizard. To become a wizard, at least 2 conditions must be met. One is to have the qualifications to become a wizard. According to this universal standard, there are 5 levels of magic qualifications, ranging from D to S from low to high. If you want to become a wizard, you must at least possess level magical qualifications. The second is to have a certain spiritual talent. The so-called release of magic is mainly a process of concentrating on portraying the magic circle, thereby guiding and exerting the magic power in the body. If you want to successfully portray the magic circle, there is not enough spiritual talent. Can't do it. As for why this point is not mentioned in the original work, Wei Yi estimates that it is not necessary. Because in the original book, the story of the world of fairy tale mainly revolves around a few people, and most of the rest are taken in one stroke, and each of those people has at least S-grade magical qualifications, and even more upward level. Tisk tisk. Reality is more than anime. After learning about this, Wei Yi cursed inwardly in his heart unconsciously. Because according to the notes, this body has only level water attribute magic aptitude and a little spiritual talent. It can be said that both of them have just reached the level of a magician. As long as they are a little closer, it is estimated that they will even become a magician. No chance. To be frank, if it weren't for the plugin on his body now, Wei Yi would have given up now. After all, his style of painting is different from that of the second half of this world. Wei Yi, who has traveled through the era of the information explosion, knows what it means to be greater hope and disappointment. There are many things in this world. It's really that you don't work hard and you don't know anything about despair. However, this original body is also unlucky enough. Obviously, the most important conditions for becoming a sorcerer's appearance have been solved, but it has fallen in a place where it shouldn't be. As expected, the body is the capital of the revolution. Can't help but sigh again. Normally, the impact wizard is almost not life-threatening, because it only needs to successfully build a magic circle and release a basic magic, even if it is successfully promoted to the ranks of the wizard. But the physical fitness of the predecessor is really bad. Although the magician does not need to pay too much attention to physical exercise, at least he must have a stronger body than ordinary people. But look at the predecessor's 4 HP. Wei Yi didn't know what his predecessor did to squeeze his body into this way. But with the lessons of his predecessor, Wei Yi also gave up his current attempt to portray the magic circle. After all, he didn't want to walk through, so he went to drink tea with the death in another world. In addition to these things, this notebook also records some other things, such as, Wei Yi found a basic meditation idea that can increase mental power and magic power in it, and 3 basic magic with water attributes, and a very small part of life's trivial matters. And through these trivial things in life, Wei Yi confirmed that his predecessor was definitely an unusually withdrawn character. Because according to this notebook, the predecessor didn't even have a friend. That's right. There is no one at all. Through the previous events, Wei Yi thought that his predecessor had a good relationship with Naz, but in this notebook, the predecessor has always regarded Naz as a very noisy fool. Although Wei Yi also thinks this description is very appropriate. After turning over this notebook several times, after confirming that there was nothing missing, Wei Yi began to practice according to the basic meditation thoughts recorded in the notebook. This basic meditation idea and the 3 basic magic are all very common. This world is still very open to the use of magic. Basically, except for some very rare magic and the secret magic of major guilds, most of the other magic can be traded as commodities. Although it's a popular product, it is enough for the current Wei Yi. With this basic meditation idea, the magic power that disappeared from the body due to the previous magic backlash can be quickly restored. And the content recorded in this basic meditation is also very simple. That is to ask the magician to free up his body and spirit as much as possible, so as to induce the instinct of the body to absorb the magic power and temper the mental power, and this step is much easier for Wei Yi. In general, it is much simpler than he thought. So this practice, an afternoon passed directly. Even at the end, Wei Yi did not take the initiative to withdraw from the meditation state, but was driven out of the meditation state by the hunger in his belly with the passive void stomach of void fear. Although Wei Yi's body recovery speed has been accelerated a lot, at the same time, his speed of digesting food has also increased a lot. Looked at the sky outside. Wei Yi retired from the state of training with some dismay, and began to walk towards the cafeteria. I don't know why, Wei Yi did not have as much difficulty as the notes in his predecessor's notes when he was practicing, and he was almost easily invested in it. Is it because a soul was replaced in the body? Wei Yi thought for a moment, and suddenly felt that his stomach was even hungry. The pace under my feet quickens again. Soon, Wei Yi came to the canteen restaurant. He directly asked the staff to order 5 foods, and then started to eat very much. Wait until after eating. Wei Yi quickly returned to his hut and continued to practice basic meditation. Day to day. A week later. Early morning. The sun is rising, a ray of sunlight is shining on Wei Yi's body, and Wei Yi slowly opens his closed eyes. Compared with a week, Wei Yi now looks much more energetic, his eyes are piercing, and he is no longer as weak as he was before. At the same time, the property panel of Wei Yi has also undergone considerable changes. Invincible passive system host, Wei Yi passive ability, void stomach HP, 9 magic, 11 mental power, 15 magic resistance, 0% armor, 0% with the help of void stomach's passive ability and basic meditation, Wei Yi's body and spirit recovered quickly. Not only that. Perhaps because of the magic backlash, Wei Yi even faintly felt that the total amount of magic in his body had increased a little. In my current state, I should be able to try to portray the magic circle. Although Wei Yi's body still looks thin and weak from the outside, in fact, the nature of this body has changed qualitatively from before. With his current situation, he can already try to portray the magic circle and learn magic. S predecessor's notebook recorded 3 basic magics, namely the magic of manipulating water flow, the water bomb magic of attack, and the water shield magic of defense. The difficulty of learning these 3 kinds of magic is not high. Basically most of the wizards learn this kind of magic when they get started. Before learning magic, Wei Yi went to the cafeteria first, ate 7 or 8 cents of food, and comforted his 5 internal organs. As the body gradually recovered, the passiveness of the void stomach also began to show its terrifying appetite. Then Wei Yi went to take a bath, took a shower and changed clothes. Wait until all this is over. Wei Yi began to try to control his mental power and portray the magic circle. The first magic he chose was the basic magic that manipulates water flow. This magic is the basic magic of water, and it is also the simplest of the 3 magics. Mental power and magic power are the 2 most critical factors that determine whether the wizard is strong or not. The stronger the mental power, the more effective it is to use the magic power in the body. Even with the same magic power, people with different mental powers will have completely different effects. And the magic is not necessary. This is the most fundamental aspect of being a magician. When a person's magical power is strong to a certain extent, even if his mental power is insufficient, he can still exert extremely terrifying destructive power. About this point, the most representative person in the entire fairy tale world is a certain red-haired uncle. Because the mental power is not proportional to the magic power, this product often looks a little sluggish, and the power to destroy everything is completely unstoppable. Of course, the reason for the sluggishness of this product may also be because there are too many women, which causes the body to be squeezed out. For this male public enemy, Wei Yi doesn't mind to speculate on him with the most malicious thoughts. But these problems are too far away for the current Wei Yi. Because he is now just beyond the standard line of normal adults, whether it is magical power or mental power. For beginners of magic, a simple small gesture is often needed when portraying the magic circle, which can improve the stability of portraying the magic circle, and this gesture will gradually disappear as the degree of magical practice becomes higher and deeper except for some special magic. Wei Yi chose a gesture of putting his hands together. This gesture can make his mind more concentrated to a certain extent. But the difficulty of learning magic is beyond Wei Yi's expectations. S2 attempts to walk up quickly all failed, and the magic in his body was also consumed. The whole process is similar to Wei Yi. As long as the magic circle is successfully portrayed, it is considered successful, you know. Magic, understand. Spiritual power, what did you say? Through these 2 failed attempts, Wei Yi discovered another benefit of the lack of magic in his body. That is, the speed of recovery is quite fast. Through basic meditation ideas, Wei Yi quickly replenished the magic power he had consumed before, and then he started another attempt. Then failed again. This is the result of poor magical aptitude and spiritual talent. Is still a real world after all. But Wei Yi is not discouraged, and still tries tirelessly. Wei Yi, who has a plugin, doesn't panic at all. All he needs to do now is to learn these magics, then join the Sorcerer's Guild, then pick up the task, complete the task, and then top up the money. Use money to create power. Wei Yi's persistence finally achieved results. After not knowing how many failures, when Wei Yi was portraying the magic circle suddenly burst into blue light, and then a cloud of water like a small snake flowed out in front of Wei Yi. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com. As the mind rotates, this group of water continues to change its shape. It's amazing magic. Looking at the water in front of him, Wei Yi had an idea in his heart. But it's just that. Apart from this idea, Wei Yi has no other thoughts in his mind at this time. Before learning magic, Wei Yi was still a little excited, but after he really learned it, he suddenly discovered that the so-called magic, it seemed that it was just like that. I am really a man who loves the new and dislikes the old. Wei Yi sighed secretly, deeply feeling his sin. But no matter what. After Wei Yi successfully released the water control magic, it means that he has officially become a D-class wizard. The level of the wizards of this world is mainly evaluated by each wizard guild. According to the standards of the Magic Council and the amount of daily tasks completed by the wizards, the guild will evaluate the wizards and rate them. In other words, the so-called wizard rank in this world is not a division of realm, but a pure evaluation. Although the strength of the wizard occupies a large portion of this evaluation, it is not the entire evaluation criterion. Therefore, in this world, the so-called fighting by step can be said to happen frequently. But these have nothing to do with the current Wei Yi. Because the D-level wizard is the lowest level. And there is only one evaluation standard for this level. As long as he can successfully release magic, he is a D-level wizard. After learning the magic of water control, Wei Yi burst into action and continued to learn the other two basic magic. Water control magic is the basis of almost all water magic. Because of this, after you learn water control magic, you can learn other magics, and you can almost find the shadow of water control magic. It took 3 full days. I finally mastered all the 3 basic magics and can use them proficiently. 3 days may not seem to be long, but in fact, according to the notes of the predecessor, basic magic such as water control magic is completely magic that can be used by people with S-level qualifications. The magical attack power of the D-class magician is not strong, at least Wei Yi's 3 basic magic powers are very weak, even if it is the only attack magic water bomb among the 3 magic, hitting people will only cause pain. That's it, it doesn't have any lethality at all. But for the current Wei Yi, it doesn't have much impact. After all, in this world where magic is regarded as a commodity transaction, it is not that only magic with powerful destructive power can take up the task. Ate the last free lunch in the cafeteria restaurant of the orphanage, and Wei Yi walked towards the branch of fairy tale set up in the orphanage. Although people who learn magic in the orphanage can choose one of several guilds at will, in fact, for Wei Yi, he has no right to choose from the beginning. Not to mention joining fairy tale, he will have the advantage of being familiar with the plot. On the basis that he himself was picked up by Makarov, the president of Fairy Tale, he could only choose to join Fairy Tale. Although Wei Yi felt that the old man Makarov wouldn't care about it. But as a great Chinese traveler, certain moral bottom lines still leave a deep mark in his bones. The branch of Fairy Tale in the orphanage is just a very simple building, and there is only one staff member inside. After all, it is rare for orphans like Wei Yi to become wizards, and even if 1 or 2 people become wizards occasionally, their magical aptitude will not be so high, so it is naturally impossible to build the branch here. Walk into the Fairy Tale branch. Wei Yi saw the middle-aged man lying lazily behind the counter, with a pipe in his mouth, combing the nose of the plane, and a bored look on his face. Seeing this person, a strange color flashed in Wei Yi's eyes. Because he found this person he seems to know almost. Although the characters in the anime are a little bit different from reality, the characteristics of this person are more obvious. After all, his airplane nose not yet bald. Wakaba Min. Fairy Tale counts as a veteran character. Although there is a bit of soy sauce in the anime, in fact, he is not weak in his own strength. He is an A-level wizard. Boy, what's the matter? Seems to have discovered the arrival of Wei Yi. Wakaba looked up at him slightly, and said. Wei Yi bowed to Wakaba, put on a polite appearance, and said, Uncle, I want to join the guild. Hey? Have you learned magic? Hearing so much Wei Yi, Wakaba finally got a little interest, stood up and stared at Wei Yi and said. Yes. Wei Yi didn't talk nonsense. After speaking, he put his hands together and used the water shield of the 3 basic magic. A simple blue magic circle appeared, and one side was about half a meter in diameter, condensed by water. The round shield appeared in front of Wei Yi. "Oh! Did you do a good job, kid?" Seeing the speed and proficiency of Wei Yi's release of magic, Wakaba's eyes flashed a little differently. In recent years, Wakaba has come into contact with magic newcomers, but it is really rare to release magic so fast. You must know that in battle, the strength of magic is only one of the conditions for determining victory, so fast. The speed of magic release is very advantageous. "What's your name?" Wakaba asked. "Gerard." Wei Yi replied. This is the name of Wei Yi's predecessor. Hearing Wei Yi speak, Wakaba slowly took out a book from the counter, and then used magic to search for it. As the book was flipped, soon, a person's information turned into light and shadow and appeared in front of Wakaba. The information recorded on this light and shadow is not someone else, it is Wei Yi. The photo above was left by Wei Yi when he first entered the orphanage, but although many years have passed, Wei Yi is not very big now, so it is easy to judge Wei Yi's true identity through this photo. After confirming Wei Yi's identity, Wakaba also showed a smile on his face. "Yes, since you want to join our guild and become a wizard, then I welcome you to join on behalf of Fairy Tale." "Thank you." Wei Yi also showed a smile on his face. Yu reading www.yuyugonshu.com. In fact, most outsiders who want to join a guild often have to go through strength tests. But the people in the orphanage want to join the guild, but they don't need to do this step, because although the people in the orphanage are not high in magic skills, they can guarantee one thing, that is, the people here will never be undercover agents sent by the Dark Guild. That means loyalty is absolutely reliable. Although the guilds in this world like the strong, they will not discriminate against the weak, at least most of the guilds in the Fiori Kingdom are like this. And Fairy Tale is also one of the most guilds. "Let's go. Kid, I will take you to the guild to get a seal, and you will be a member of our guild from now on." Wakaba started to wake Wei Yi from the meditation state. Seeing that Wei Yi was practicing so seriously, Wakaba couldn't help but sigh. After all, he is now over 30 years old, and many realities have already begun to recognize, knowing that some things in this world really cannot be achieved by hard work alone, such as his unstoppable baldness, and magical aptitude. It's a pity, only grade D magic qualification. Wakaba sighed slightly in his heart. Although their guild does not discriminate against the weak and treats everyone as a family member, once they join the ranks of the magic, many things will ultimately depend on their own strength to solve. And the development potential of the D-level magic qualification is still too limited after all. Followed Wakaba for about half an hour. A huge building slowly came into view, and directly above the building, a flag painted like a bird was flying in the sky. Fiori Kingdom's title of Holy 10 Great Wizards is not entirely judged by strength, but as one of the Holy 10 Great Wizards, Makarov's strength is beyond doubt. Even with Wei Yi's current weak magic perception, he can clearly feel the vast magic power in Makarov's body. But, unlike Makarov's strength, his height is almost inversely proportional to his magic power. Based on Wei Yi's current visual inspection, plus the nightcap on Makarov's head, the height of this drunk little old man should be, it seems that the height of this drunken little old man should be, it seems that. Even when he watched anime, Wei Yi once thought that the reason Makarov learned giant magic was entirely because of his dissatisfaction with some parts of himself. After all, although giant magic, the magic that makes the body huge, is powerful, it has many shortcomings. At least in the anime, Wei Yi did not see which enemy this little old man had won when he used giant magic. "Oh! Wakaba, you are back." Hiccup. "I'm back, President, this is Ur. He learned magic in the orphanage and now wants to join our guild." Wakaba respects Makarov, and Makarov is indeed a respectable person. "Old man." Although this old man is a bit lustful, he is often a little out of touch. "Hey! Oh!" Makarov tried to open his drunken eyes and glanced at Wei Yi, bewildered, how do I feel like I have seen you before? Wei Yi, Wakaba, President, have you forgotten? You picked up our back in the first place. Wakaba reminded Makarov in a low voice. When Wakaba finished reminding him, Wei Yi clearly saw Makarov's expression stiff for a moment, but soon the little old man recovered, laughing, and patted her on the shoulder. It turned out to be like this. I didn't expect her to grow up so big in the blink of an eye, and you even learned magic, not bad. Don't look at Makarov's small size, but this little old man has a lot of power, and the pat on Wei Yi's shoulder makes him grin. Wei Yi even wondered if this little old man was deliberately taking revenge. Since you have learned magic, and you actively want to join our guild, then as the president, I welcome you to join our fairy tale. After taking a picture for a while, I finally concealed my embarrassment. Makarov gradually became serious. This is the advantage of being born in an orphanage. There is basically no obstacle to joining a guild, you only need to learn magic. Wakaba, help me get the magic engraved chapter. Makarov said. I see, President. Wakaba responded, and soon he took a stamp-like thing from behind the counter. What color do you prefer? Gray, just print it here for me. Wei Yi pointed to his right chest and said. No problem. Wakaba is not nonsense, after all, it is just printing a logo. With the engraved magic seal printed on Wei Yi's right chest, soon, a grey bird resembling a bird with an arrow-like tail pattern appeared on Wei Yi's chest, which was the symbol of fairy tale. The pattern printed by this magic engraved seal is very unique, unless the guild is destroyed or the guild is voluntarily withdrawn, otherwise the pattern will never disappear. And from the moment this pattern is printed on the body, also means that Wei Yi has officially become a member of fairy tale. Seeing the guild pattern printed on Wei Yi's chest, the corners of Makarov's mouth slowly turned up, and he saw him stand up, puffing up his throat and preparing to say something to everyone. Little ones, have a banquet. Welcome newcomer to join our big family. For Makarov, this is a welcome ceremony that every family who joins fairy tale should have. This time, this welcoming ceremony happened unexpectedly. Because when Makarov took a deep breath and was about to speak, Wei Yi suddenly said a word, almost not letting Makarov be suffocated by this breath. That, President, can I take the task now? Ahem puff. For Wei Yi, this is obviously a very normal sentence, but listening to Makarov and Wakaba's ears, one of them coughed violently, and the other spit out a sip of wine. The two looked at Wei Yi weirdly, and then waited until Makarov finally abruptly suffocated the words he was about to say, and then slowly said, It can be, but you can only take D class now. Only after you reach a certain level of quests, you can be promoted to a higher level wizard before you can borrow other higher level quests. I see, you reading www.yuyugonshu.com, thank you Chairman. Wei Yi thanked Makarov, and then walked towards the task panel. Makarov and Wakaba looked at the back of Wei Yi leaving, and remained silent for a long time. Then Wakaba suddenly came out and said, President, it seems that Ur has some problems in his heart. Most of the people in our guild have had some special experiences. I only hope that Ur can come out of it as soon as possible. Makarov's expression also became serious. Both of them never suspected that Wei Yi was okay. After all, their fairy tale has never raised such a guy who can work hard and do tasks seriously. Even if there are one or two occasionally, it is definitely a troublemaker, the kind that can destroy a place with a mission. Fortunately, Wei Yi does not know what Makarov and Wakaba are thinking. If not, he will definitely cry out injustice. Because he really just wants to work the task to make money and recharge, there really are not so many stories in him. He is really just a simple comparison. Level tasks are actually not much different from ordinary temporary workers. The only difference may be that the salary is slightly higher. The currency value in fairy tale is similar to the value of an island country. So the price of most level tasks is around 4 or 5,000 J, which is about 2 or 300 RMB, but there are also slightly higher rewards, but they are a little more tiring than ordinary tasks. And Wei Yi chose just such a task. President, I want to take this task. Wei Yi tore off a task list on the wooden board, walked to Makarov and said. Makarov glanced at the task list in Wei Yi's hand, hesitated and said, Are you sure you want to take this task? If you want to take this task, I recommend that you find a partner and complete it alone. The task is still relatively difficult. No, I can do it alone. Okay then. Makarov saw Wei Yi's firm gaze, and did not say much, but agreed to his request. There is basically no danger in the D-level tasks and C-level tasks. The task Wei Yi took is only a little more difficult. It is not an impossible task. Since Wei Yi wants to take on such a task, Makarov there is no reason to stop it. Thank you, then, I'm leaving. Have a safe journey. The city where the Fairy Tale Guild is located is called Magnolia. This is a magical commercial city with a long history, and Fairy Tale is also the only wizard guild in this city. Fairy Tale is deeply trusted by the residents of this city. Basically, people in this city will seek help from Fairy Tale if they have any problems. Even the residents of this city are because of a certain red-haired uncle in the guild. Willful has carried out an amazing transformation of the entire city. Although Wei Yi has always felt that the reason for this phenomenon is entirely because the city only has the Fairy Tale Guild. Walked for about 3 hours, his feet were almost blistering, and Wei Yi finally arrived at the mission location. What? Why not take transportation? Sorry. There is no such thing as transportation in the impoverished world. Is there anyone? Please open the door, I am the Wizard of Fairy Tale, come here to bring warmth. Wei Yi walked to the gate of an independent courtyard and slapped the door and shouted. After a while, an old lady with grey hair slowly opened the door, with a kind smile on her face, glanced at Wei Yi, and said, Are you the guild's wizard to take on the mission? Correct. Then please come in. Young man, have you eaten yet? Wei Yi followed the old woman, and suddenly the old woman asked. No. Wei Yi answered honestly and decisively. Hee, in this case, why not eat something and work? The grey-haired old woman seemed to be taken aback, but then the smile on her face resurfaced, and she said kindly. It is good. Although I am embarrassed to say that, in fact, one of Wei Yi's purposes for taking up this task this time is to eat a meal. After all, after leaving the orphanage, there is no more free food to eat. After walking into the small courtyard building, Wei Yi discovered that the small building seemed not small, but in reality it was unusually deserted. It seemed that there was no one except the old woman. I don't have anything good here, boy, you can make do with something. After Wei Yi walked into the building, the old woman brought out a few plates from the kitchen and said kindly to Zhen Xiaobai. Wei Yi looked at the piles of meat on the plate and the big fish that was grilled, feeling that his values had been hit. Although he still doesn't know what the price of this world is, one thing Wei Yi is sure of is that these things in front of him are by no means the so-called nothing good. Because if these big fish and big meat are not good things, then Wei Yi really doesn't know what good things are in this world. Just when Wei Yi was stunned, the old woman brought out several plates from the kitchen. Soon, the food on the table in front of Wei Yi piled up into a hill. You guys, eat first. If it's not enough, I'll make it for you. The old woman said with a smile. Hearing the words of the old woman, Wei Yi glanced at the Roshan where there were almost no vegetables in front of him, and the corners of his mouth twitched a few times. Wei Yi now suddenly feels like he went to his grandmother's house to celebrate the new year when he was a child in his previous life. Is roughly similar to, Grandma, are you full? Wei Yi, I'm full. Grandma, no, you are not full, eat more. Wei Yi, to be frank. After the old woman took out these foods, the first reaction that came to Wei Yi's mind was, will these foods be poisoned? After all, the body of a teenager lives in the soul of an adult, and it is impossible to think about problems simply according to the thinking of a child. Yu reading www.yuyugonshu.com. Harmfulness is not necessary, but defensiveness is also necessary. But soon, this guess was forgotten by him. Because he really can't think of a reason for others to harm him. Tu Choi? This is simply impossible. Just like Wei Yi now, anyone can see his poverty. After all, the only difference between him and a beggar is that he doesn't think he is a beggar in his own heart. Picture color? This is also impossible, because Wei Yi is so thin now. Can it be used is another matter? I thought about it for a few seconds. Finally, Wei Yi decided to eat first. Because it's okay if these foods don't come up, Wei Yi himself can stand it. But when the scent of these foods penetrated Wei Yi's nose, although Wei Yi himself wanted to continue to be patient, his stomach already made thunderous protests, completely uncontrolled by his brain. One of the passive abilities that the void stomach brings to Zhen Xiaobai is to eat. Based on the principle that we must not waste, Wei Yi ate this meal for several hours. Using the power of the void stomach, Wei Yi eats while digesting, and finally wipes out all the rojan on the table. In the process, the old woman didn't mean to urge Wei Yi at all, she just sat and watched with a smile, at most occasionally chatting with Wei Yi a few words. In the end, even if Wei Yi's face was very thick, I feel a little embarrassed. So as soon as the meal was over, Wei Yi immediately spoke, "Mr. Yisai, I'm already full. Let's start working right away."